From Craig Rolson in Europe, David Gerber in Brazil, and our editor-in-chief and publisher, Don Oshman, it's time for this week's Sunday Night Week in Review.
Evening. It's time once again for the weekly HideNet Market Report. My name is Don Oshman, editor-in-chief and publisher of HideNet Market Reports, where we cover insta-trade for individual trading happening all of a sudden in North America, international report this week in leather, our European report, our North American report, and our U.S. daily and weekly reports. Craig Rolson, our European editor, writes this weekend that this last week was the first full week back for Europe as the trade shook off their holiday relaxation and enjoyment and got back to the nitty-gritty of daily activities. In general, raw stock prices were somewhat similar to what it was before the holidays. There was not much movement of any significance during the 2 or 3 or in some cases 4-week closings. There's decent export demand from Asia for the European producers, and on most selections, that's about the only market, except if you can sell it to the Far East, you can do better than selling it into Italy, for example, or Spain. Excuse me. However, certain items, such as German bulls and so on and so forth, that have to rely on European markets, while not really weak, are seeing some pressure. Italy's Riva Shoe, S-C-H-U-C-H, I never know how to pronounce it, leather show, had over 1,300 exhibitors, was a success. We've got a full report on that. And the dollar-euro, which is now down to $1.16, which is amazing, is having an impact on continental trade as well. There's also a good report on the lamb and sheep markets, which are relatively stable. And there was a show in China this week put on by European lamb skin producers, but that did not change prices, but it was well attended as far as we understand. In North America this week, steers were steady. Didn't go up, didn't go down. Some people thought they might go up, but it didn't happen. Cow sector was firmly steady, and there's not very many cows around because the production's way down, and the producers who were choking on them for 6 months or longer cleaned up a few weeks ago, and now they're in very good shape and are trying to get higher prices, but they just don't have much to offer. Those are plump cows, dairy cows, brandy cows. Combined export sales were very, very high, 716,000 pieces of wet blue and raw hides. But in our view, this did not happen during New Year's week. It happened previously, and it was a catch-up reporting, as far as we can tell by the government statistics or people reporting to the government, which is voluntarily in America. So I would not say that, we don't say that that 716,000, which is the highest in months, indicated that much more business. If they indicated that much more business, prices would have gone up this week, and they didn't. Sales also exceeded slaughter, but the shipments were below. The U.S. port situation is still having greater and growing impact, not only in the hide business, but importing leather products, messing up and slowing down the whole supply chain for importers and for exporters trying to get their money because they've got containers sitting at the pier they can't get on vessels. Heck of a mess. Now finally the government has stepped in to get a mediator. We'll get binding arbitration hopefully soon because it's really not doing well for the whole U.S. economy and therefore impacting the world economy. In Asia, rather, relation to Asia, because that's where most of America's exports go and most of Americans' imports come from. So there's an update on that too. And on our market observation sections, observation this week, we talked about how numbers can be misleading vis-a-vis the export numbers we just expounded upon. Latin America this week, Argentine, Uruguayan prices are a little bit easier. There's an underlying softness in fresh green Brazilian prices, but they haven't got them down. The market is still basically the same. Volume's been limited. The lower priced Brazilian wet blue, the TR2, TR3 are selling okay, but not the TR1s because tanners need a certain price to come out, and there's a lot of strong resistance. Also in Brazil, and to some degree in Argentina and other areas as well, the European market has not dried up, nothing like it was. So these folks are relying on Asia, and then they've got the holidays coming in Asia in a couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks, to take up their supply. So it's not flourishing down there, and prices are down to somewhere between $1.75 and $1.80 a square foot CFR for TR1. That's the story out of there. Wet salted hides out of Argentina and Buenos Aires were down another several cents this week. This week in leather, we talked about Brazilian leather exports growing in 2014 in dollars, maybe not in square footage. There's a CLIA guidelines to be updated. The Chinese Leather Association is going to be updated. And before I forget, we made a video before Christmas on the HideNet International Interactive Forum that's being translated as we speak. It'll be available on the HideNet website, complimentary, starting tomorrow or tomorrow night. And just go to HideNet.com. You'll see a link, and you can watch that tremendous discussion with the CLIA members and He-Nam Prosper about what's going on in the Chinese tanning and footwear industries, lambskin, sheepskin industries, the whole thing, pollution, moving out of China, all this fascinating by the people who make things happen. And that's available on HideNet.com by Tuesday for certain. Just keep checking. You'll see a link when you go there. Let's see what else. Wolverine, one of the biggest leather shoe producers in the world now, is optimistic on their coming into this certain year. No great gains, but no losses. And Brazilian footwear industry predicts a 2015 export increase. Also, China passenger vehicle sales are expected to rise 10% going into 2020. That's just some of the things. We've taken too much time tonight. Thank you for watching. Watch the HideNet website, www.HideNet.com, and you'll see a picture of me giving this report. Underneath that, you'll see a link starting tomorrow or the next day where you can watch this fascinating and very, very informative HideNet Leather Forum done in Mandarin, now with English subtitles underneath. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.